artists, we are going to start making our Collagraph plate today. And the plate is this piece of cardboard, and they call it a plate because it's the surface that we are using to create our image. It's not the final artwork, but we're going to put our landscape on here and then we'll print it onto another sheet of paper. So you've already filled out your planning sheet. You can see mine right here. Remember, you kept this design simple. There are not a lot of little details. Everything is a shape that I can cut out of different materials. And with our Collagraph, we're gonna have foam. Everyone's gonna get a little piece of foam. There's yarn, there's burlap, plastic bags, and we might even find some other treasures in the art room. We also have cardboard that when you start to peel it, it creates this really nice texture. And I know because of my landscape, I'm gonna wanna use this. I'm gonna go ahead and peel that right now. Yeah, there's a lot of different things. First step, please put your name on the back of your Collagraph plate and your class code, whatever that may be, because Mrs. Congdon and I cannot keep track of them without names. And then my first step, if you noticed, this square is the same size as this square. So I'm going to cut out these pieces to help me use them as tracers for my other materials. I'm not going to cut out everything at once. I'm going to cut out my bottom piece first. In the front of my landscape, this little chunk, it's kind of rocky. It's like road. This would be my foreground. And I want to do my best job cutting so that it fits on my Collagraph plate well. So I know the material that I want to use for this front part. I want to use plastic bag because of what it's going to do. So I cut it out. I'm going to line it up, and I'm just going to quickly trace where this top line is because of how I'm going to attach this plastic bag. Now I'm going to use a little piece of this. See, I'm going to cut it. I don't need a lot, maybe this much. And I'm going to save that. I'm going to glue that at the end. My next piece that I'm going to cut out, I'm going to save the windmills for last, but this is like a field. So I'm not cutting out each section. That was just there to say I wanted a texture that might create that. And I think this cardboard's going to do the trick. So I'm gonna cut around this. Okay, I cut out my next piece. You can tell it's gonna fit right there. I'm gonna use this as a tracer, like a template. I'm gonna need my Sharpie. And I'm gonna carefully trace around the edge. Now it might be a little difficult because my material's really bumpy, but I get the gist. Like, I'll be able to see where my lines are. And that's what's important. Okay, I'm gonna take off my template. Yep, I can see. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut this piece out. Okay, I cut out that piece. It looks like it's gonna fit pretty good. When I line it up, I have a little bit of space, but that's fine because I'm gonna cover that up with a bag. So what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna use my glue. I'm gonna glue down the first piece of my Collagraph. I only need to go along the edges. You don't want too much glue. That's just gonna make your project really messy, but you wanna make sure that it's gonna stay. So if you go along the edges, that should be fine. I lined it up on this edge. Lined it up down here. I'm gonna put my hands on top, press a little bit, not too hard because I don't wanna smash my texture. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and do this part. I was gonna just use a plastic bag. And so what I'm gonna do with this, I'm going to just put some glue in this area. And with the bag, I'm just gonna kind of squish it on there. And I'm gonna have to trim some of it off and glue some of it like on top of one another. Like this piece I'll pull down. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna trim off some extra. And I have an idea of what this might look like, but I don't know for sure. We'll find out when we print it with ink. I'm gonna put some glue on top so I can put these extra pieces. Might get a little messy here, but that's okay. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit and then I'm gonna probably go back in and add some more glue. So my next step, I'm missing my wind turbines. If you notice these, I drew them in a lot of different pieces. You have a couple of choices. I could cut out each piece because I want my viewers to see each piece, or I could cut it out as one piece. So I think I'm gonna do both just so you can see how it might look differently. This one's bigger, so I'm gonna cut out each piece. And then I'm gonna cut out this one as one. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that. Okay, I cut out all the pieces to my windmill. This one is 5 separate pieces, and then I kept this one together. That would have been very difficult to cut out each piece. Even this one I maybe should have kept together, but I'm gonna try it. And I'm gonna use just my foam for my plate. Now, here's what you shouldn't do when you're tracing. Don't put your piece right in the middle, because you only get one piece of foam. So you have to make all of your pieces fit on there. So I know if I start with this guy in the corner, I have all that extra space to fit these pieces. I'm gonna use a skinny Sharpie. And I am going to carefully trace my wind turbine, my pattern, whatever you are using this for, on here. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect. I might even make some of these lines a little bigger so that when I am cutting, it's not so difficult for me. Because cutting on foam is going to be different than cutting on paper. I might cut that a little bit longer just to see. So there's one wind turbine. And now I'm going to do my best to fit these pieces so I can save a chunk of this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish tracing. Okay, I've traced all my pieces. I'm going to make a quick cut right here because this foam can be used by another artist. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out all these pieces. I'm going to slow down, take my time, and just do my best work. Okay, I cut out all my pieces. Now my next step is to glue them onto my plate. I'm going to set them on here first though and see if they fit how I want them to fit. I remember I wanted that little guy tucked down in there. It looks like that's going to work. And some of these, you know, if it's not working how I want it to, I can flip it over, turn it around. Now these I cut separately, so I'm going to leave a little space in between. That's kind of what I wanted. This little guy, we're just going to, set him right there. And I might realize that some of these are a little too big. Like this might be a little big, so I might have to trim him. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing and I'm going to adjust as I need to. Because of that, I'm going to change a little bit. So to glue these, remember you don't need a lot of glue. Might just do like one little line. Push that down so it's going to stay.